This is a great resource as a warm-up for anyone who struggles with tension or difficulty engaging their diaphragm for breath work. A lot of times there's immobility or tension in the rib cage, affecting how much your diaphragm can really contract down and gain that opening feeling at the bottom of your rib cage for the full respiratory capacity of your lungs. So something I like first is a seated side bend. Just sit comfortably, ideally with your feet on the ground as well. And two ways you can do this. You can reach up and then lean over, and you'll feel this stretch on this side of your body. Alternatively, if it's comfortable for your body, I kind of like this position with my hand behind my head because it helps open up the chest a little bit as well. And then you're just going to point that elbow to the ceiling. The important thing here is that you are breathing deeply into this portion of your rib cage that is now kind of being stretched. So really feeling for that expansion, going for a diaphragmatic breath. So I like to take 2 breaths here, breathing in deeply and then exhaling fully, kind of like you're wringing out the last of the air. Then you'll return to center and do the same thing on the other side. What can be helpful here too is really just imagining your breath going to that space, setting that intention of creating like relaxation and expansiveness in that area. So you're going to feel that stretch all the way through your side body here, and then you're just going for those deep breaths directed to this part of your rib cage, really envisioning that breath creating space. You can alternate a couple times if it feels good. And then what I like to do is a really targeted diaphragm engagement exercise. This is called sip, sit, blow. So your first 2 actions are to inhale quickly through your mouth, like this. What that's going to do is really force your diaphragm to engage for that rapid inhalation. So what this looks like for my belly is you can really see that like instant inflation of the belly. What you're not seeing is a ton of movement of my chest. There's a little bit of expansion of the rib cage here, but really the diaphragm is doing all the work here. So the goal is to do that full inhale, fill up your whole respiratory capacity, keeping a hand on your belly so that you can feel that expansion of your diaphragmatic breath in your belly, and then slowly letting the air out, like so. Letting all that air out. So then you can just refresh with 2 more really deep breaths. What this looks like to the side. So I'm not only creating that brain and body connection for expansion. Hi, buddy. Not only creating that brain and body connection for expansion of my belly with a diaphragmatic breath, I'm also tuning into, when I release that air, just the gradual and controlled contraction of my stomach, and all those muscles wrapping around my core to help control the exhalation of that. The next thing to focus on is trying to tie that diaphragmatic awareness that you just created in with your regular breathing pattern. So instead of that rapid inhale, you're going to apply that same expansion of the belly. Leave your hand on your belly as well for that physical cue, just with a nasal inhale and an oral exhale. I use my shoulders a little bit there. Great way to tune in to what's doing the most work. It's putting a hand on your chest, hand on your belly. If you do this in a mirror or in your camera, you can pay attention to the negative space above your shoulders to see how much you're using your chest, shoulders, or clavicle to breathe, rather than letting your diaphragm do the work. Bonus points for the exhale being much longer than the inhale. From the side, that's a lot of movement of the belly, very little movement of the chest. And that type of 2-to-1 breathing, that exhaling for around twice as long as you inhale, is going to engage your part of your nervous system that really helps you relax, regulate, and feel calm. So that breathing pattern is just great for starting any practice intention, and really useful as well if you're wanting to maybe help with restlessness in the middle of the night or help alleviate some anxiety. Just turns on that part of your brain that says we're good, we don't need to be in fight and flight, we can rest and digest. The next piece of this is then tying that same breathing pattern in with activation of your voice. And a really great way to do this, and another great way to regulate your nervous system, is through humming. So you're going to do that nice deep inhale, maybe think about holding your breath for just a touch at the top of that breath, and then you're going to let that exhale fuel your voice for humming. So it'll be like this. Humming like this, singing generally, is also a great way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system because it naturally makes you hold that exhale out. If that feels really easy, you can then do pitch glides. So not only is this a great way to warm up your respiratory capacity, help things move around, create more expansiveness for deep breathing, it's also a great exercise to start building that brain and body connection between how air is used to fuel your voice.